Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Amanda here, and in today's video we are going to talk about mini album binding. So in some upcoming videos we are going to be putting together a mini album project, and I figured where to start would be how I bind my mini albums together, and I'm going to show you my top 3 binding methods, how to put them together, and that way when we go to do the project itself you can refer back to this if you're not sure how you would like to bind yours. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first things first, let's go over a few little supplies here. So you can use any kind of glue you have on hand. You can use art glitter glue, you can use Fabri-Tac, you can use double-sided tape, you can use a glue runner. Whatever adhesive you have on hand that is permanent should in all likelihood work. If I haven't listed the one that you have and you want to ask me down in the comments below whether I think it would work or not, then by all means go ahead, but as long as it is a permanent glue you should be good. Some people like to use a wet glue, some people like to use something like score tape, which is a really strong adhesive double-sided tape, and it is sort of my go-to to use score tape in the binding of my mini albums. But I go back and forth between it and Fabri-Tac generally. Those are my two favorites. So we're going to go into my third choice, second choice, and then first choice for binding methods. Now the first one is really simple to do. I call it peaks and valleys, and basically it is a fin system which you will use to slide the pages into the spine of your book. So what happens is you create these little fins or tabs or whatever you want to call them, and this one is set up for a 4-page mini album. And what happens is you sort of leave the edge of your page open to where it will slide right down and over the top of the fin itself, and that's how your page sticks to the spine. And if you know how many pages are going to be in your mini album, it is easy to plan out this system. So basically what it is you have a peak, a valley, a peak, a valley, a peak, a valley, and so on, and it takes 3 little strips to make a peak and a valley. The most common size in between the actual pages would be a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch. Some people even go with 3/8, but if you're not really good at trying to figure out the maths on 3/8, then a 1/4 is nice and easy, and 1/2 inch is nice and easy as well. So this is set up as a 1/2 inch binding. Now in order to do that, I have just got a simple, this one is 3-inch strip, and I am going to score it at every 1/2 inch. And I'm going to show you how this is going to work. That gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections, and that will then allow us for 1, 2, 3 pages. So what you're going to do in order to fold this properly is the first fold is going to come up and towards you, and that edge is going to make your first peak. The next one is going to come up towards you again, and that forms your valley. Then you're going to go back in the other direction to make a peak. So now we have 2 pages. You're going to come towards you again twice. And now you're going to have a 3-page system. So the reason that I like this system is it's nice and easy, and it's really simple to figure out, but you can use it for an even number of pages. So for this one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gives us a 4-page system. 6 gives us a 3-page system. If you wanted to cut off the second 3, then this would be a 2-page system as well. So you can adapt it to whatever you want. It's just a lot easier to see. The concept is a lot easier to grasp. Okay, so in order to attach this to a spine of a book, I'm going to go ahead and tell you where to put the tape. You're going to want to make sure that you tape together or glue together the inside of each of the peaks. So you want the peak to stick to itself, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm using my score tape for this, and I'm just putting the peak together. The next thing that you're going to want to make sure that you do is anything that is going to touch the spine and be attached to the spine, you're also going to want to tape or glue. So again, I'm going to use a thicker score tape here, and I'm actually going to go in and all the surfaces that are going to touch the spine of the book, I'm going to cover with tape. Now, because this is just shy of an inch, I'm going to go in here with my 1/2 inch score tape, and then I'm going to hit those edges with my 1/8 of an inch score tape, so you can cover as much as possible, and don't be scared to switch up the sizes if you don't have the exact size you need. You're going to want to make sure that you go up to and not on your score lines, though. You want your pages to have plenty of flex in those fins. You're also going to eventually put double-sided tape on the fins themselves, because that is how they're going to attach to the pages, and the pages are going to hold on, but that's not something you have to do at this step. You can if you want to. I'm not going to do it here, but you can do that at this step and make sure both sides of the fins are covered, or you can leave that till you're ready to attach your pages. So that is number 3. All right, number 2 is another fin binding system. They're all pretty much fin binding systems, but this one is individual little strips that are sort of like my top choice, which is like a stack the deck binding. That was by Laura Dennison, and it's been sort of converted time after time after time, and a lot of people use the stack the deck method. I will link her channel below if you want to go and see some of her videos on the subject. But these are 1.5 inch strips, and you can make as many or as few as you want. If you want 1 page, then you need 1 strip. If you want 2 pages, you need 2 strips. So you don't have to figure out with this method how many peaks and how many valleys you want. If you want a page, make a strip, and these strips are 1.5 inches wide. It is scored in half at your 3/4 mark. You can come out to the 1 inch mark if you want a little bit more of a sort of break in the page, if you want it to have a little bit more flex to the page, and then you're going to come over here at the 3/8 mark and cut this section in half. So in order to do this system, you're going to do that for all of your strips. Okay, so I'm going to make a 2-page system for this one. So we're going to come here, and we are going to go to 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to make a score. We're going to go to 3/8 of an inch, and we're going to make a score. And we're going to come out to the 1/8 inch mark, and we're going to make a score there as well, which I think I got a little off, but it's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half. I don't like the scoreboard because it never seems to line up. I really like my big one, but that's okay. And if you choose to put that 1 inch score in there, you're going to fold that one and sort of prep your fold on that one as well. You can fold it either way. You can fold it both ways. It's not going to make a whole lot of difference. That's just going to allow your page to move a little bit more freely inside the album. So I'm going to do that for this one. I'm going to do it for this one as well. And there we have it. So this one is really, really simple. What you are going to do here to put these pages together is the section that is divided in half is where your tape is going to go. So I'm going to run tape. Down next to, but not on top of, my score mark. You can add that a little bit of extra if you want as well. I'm not going to do that this time just to save tape. I'm trying to figure out which way I'm going here. Same thing. And again, you can use wet glue with this if you want to. off. And in order to stack these pages together, you are going to come in and line them up on this 3/4 inch or 3/8 inch mark that you made. So this is where they're going to stick together. It's going to give them 3/8 of an inch in between each of the pages. And the fins are going to come up like this, and the pages will break either way. So if they're a little bit heavy, it's not that big a deal. The pages are going to flex either way. And each page will stack on the other. I'm going to line it up with that score mark. Each page will stack on top of the other. And then you will glue this bottom down to your spine. And it gives you a little bit of extra width here so that each of the pages attaches to itself, or attaches to the one below it, and then also attaches to the spine. So you have a lot of strength built into this binding system. And then you can keep going and continue to add pages. So that is how you stick these together. And then once you are done, just cover the back in your tape or your glue and attach it down to the spine. So this is good if you want an even or an odd number of pages. It is that forgiving. It will do either one, which is why it is just a little bit easier to do than this. And then we have my top choice, which is the Stack the Deck binding by Laura Dennison. Follow the Paper Trail is her channel, and like I said, I will link it below. There are 2 variations on this. I think I usually use a 1/4 inch binding on these. So what will happen with this is this is 1.5 inches long. We're going to have a 1/2 inch section or fin for our paper to attach to, or a page to come down and attach to. So we're going to come out here and we're going to mark that at 1/2 inch. We're going to use a 1/4 inch width, and that leaves a 1/2 inch on this side. So what you have here, once you make your fold, I'm going to bring my bone folder over here. Once you make your fold, is 2 fins for your pages with a 1/4 inch in between. You can do the same thing with a 1/2 inch. You just need to make this a 1/4 inch longer. You're going to come in 1/2 inch. You'll give it a 1/2 inch instead, and then you would come over another 1/2 inch. So this needs to be 1.5 inches wide if you're going to use 1/2 inch binding. I hope I'm not confusing you going back and forth between the two, but we're going to do it again. So the next step, you're going to need 3, and they're going to jump up a 1/2 inch in width every time. They're going to stay the same height, but they're going to jump up 1/2 inch, and I'll show you why. So this one, the last one was 1.25 inches long. This one is 1.5 inches long, and we're going to come down here again. We're going to go in at the 1/2 inch mark, and this time, instead of leaving a 1/4 inch, we're going to leave 3/4 inch. And we're going to come over here and do it again. If the math on the inside section is too much for you, then you can always just take this, do the 1/4 inch, flip it over, or do the 1/2 inch, flip it over, and come back down on the other side this way, so that you don't have to figure out the math. But then what you've ended up with is 2 additional fins. Get that folded, and this fin is going to sit directly on top of the other one. So what I like to do with this is just mark where I want my fin to hit, which is going to hit there and there, because we already know how thick it is. And when we put it together, I will show you what I mean. So these 2 marks, it'll line up, and this will sit here just inside. So we're going to do the same thing again. And like I said, instead of actually trying to do any math, we're just going to come down here 1/2 inch. We're going to come over here 1/2 inch. We're going to give it a 1/4 inch, give it a 1/4 inch, give it a 1/4 of an inch, just mark that, and then we're going to make our folds to pull our fins up. So if you only have 4 pages, then you only need the first 2 fins. If you want to do 6 pages, then you need 3 sets of fins. I would probably not do more than 8 in a mini album, and I think even 8 is pushing it. I don't usually go above the 3 tiers of fins, so usually 6 pages is where I max out. So these are going to sit on top of each other just like this, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put these together so that I can show you how this works. So for this one, we're going to go in here with our 1/8 of an inch tape because it's going to be the smallest one that I have, and I think the 1/4 of an inch is going to be just too long. We're going to put that there, switch out, let's see, our 1/2 of an inch is going to fit in here. We're going to put it in the little valley that we formed right there, and then we're going to double up on this one. We're going to come out to right up against our score line here. If you have thicker tape, then by all means go ahead and use it here and do each edges because we want it stuck down to the spine good. Alright, so this is the piece that is going to stick directly to the spine. This is the piece that's going to sit on top of that. So we're going to go in here, pull off our tape, and I sort of like to do it like this so that I can see those little marks that I made, and if it's down on the table, you can generally count on it being lined up nice and even with the marks on the bottom as well. So I like to stand mine up like this when I do it, and we're just going to burnish that down, and there we have 4 fins. So we're going to attach this last piece as well, same way. There we go. We're going to do the same thing here. Smush these flat for a second so we can see what we're doing. Line it up. Make sure we're all lined up down here. And then there you have it. You've got 6 different fins for this. If you like to notch your fins, then by all means you can come in here and just do like this. So it's easier to slide your pages onto that little gap there. Doesn't have to be at any specific angle because the fins will always be covered when you are done with your mini album. And then you can do the same thing for the bottom. You could have done this before you glued them down, but I did not. So we're going to do it now, which is perfectly okay. Because sometimes everybody forgets a step. So that is done. And at any point you can distress these edges as well if you're going for that distressed look and you want to carry that down to the spine. So there you have 6 notched pages, and this can be whatever height you want. You determine the height of your book and how far you want your things spaced apart, and then go on that. But I suggest about 1/2 an inch for your fins, if that makes sense. So bump it up in appropriate increments, but those are your fins for this. This is my absolute favorite. I tend to do even numbers of pages, so this is the one that I use most often. This is the exact same concept as my number 2 choice, but this one allows for you to use an uneven number of pages if you want 3 or 5, whereas this system is even only because it has a matching side. It also has a variation. If you don't want to slip your pages down onto a fin, there is a stack the pages version of Stack the Deck, and that is going to use the exact same system, but instead of making fins, you are making your pages, or the base of your pages, in the same process. I made these 4 inches wide. So good thing we measure. If I want my page to be 4 inches wide, I need that doubled. So I need 8 inches of width on the piece of paper that I cut by however tall I want my paper as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to come down on that 4-inch line, and instead of doing math, I'm going to turn my paper around and I'm going to do the exact same thing. This is fin number 1 that goes in the middle, and you have got your nice 1/4 of an inch in between. Then each of these pages is going to be 1/2 of an inch longer than the last, and we're going to do the exact same thing. The page length or the page width does not change. So no matter what, if I want my pages, and I have planned for my pages to be 4 inches, I'm going to come down on that 4-inch line. I'm going to flip my paper over, and I'm going to come down on that 4-inch line again. I'm going to make my little marks. And just like that, you have the second set. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for this last one. I'm going to spin my paper around, which is so much easier than even trying to attempt math in my head. I'm going to give that 1/4 inch a little nudge right there, and there you have it. So I'm going to go ahead and fold these and show you that they stack up in exactly the same manner. And you have the pages attached, or the bases, and then you start building on these bases directly. And once you're done building your pages, you can glue the entire thing together and then down into your spine, or you can glue it together and down into your spine and then start embellishing your pages. So where you go from there is completely up to you. Some people like to do their pages before they put them in their books. Some people like to put their books together before they put the pages in and make sure that everything is going to fit. So that is completely up to you. Line it up, and you have your 6-page bases right here. So I'm going to show you one that we have in process right now that we have sort of been working on for the past couple of weeks. And this is the same exact system. This is to stack the pages. And this is how you begin to sort of embellish it. This one is a little bit shorter than the base that I just showed you, but you can start adding things to each one of them, and we're going to start decorating mini albums in the next little set of projects, or in an upcoming set of projects. So you've got little pockets here that you can form. You've got belly bands and inserts and half pockets, and the possibilities from here are really endless. I don't know if you can tell what the theme is for this one, but we are building it in October, so I think the theme might be kind of obvious. And then here are some of the undecorated pages that we have still got to finish. So that is an example of a somewhat finished mini album and how the actual system looks inside of a binding. All right, but that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Those are my top 3 methods: the stack the deck, the stack the pages variation on stack the deck, the stack the deck sort of again kind of thing, where you can use an odd number of pages in basically the same manner, and then you've got the peaks and valleys. So let me know which one of these is your favorite, which you think would be easiest for you to work with, and that is probably, whichever one wins is probably the method that we will go with in the upcoming mini album project. If I had to say, I would probably go with this version, and that way we can embellish our pages and then stick them into our album. So, but this is my top choice, so I don't guess it was any secret that that would be the vote that I cast. Anyway, I will see you in the next video, and I have got some really exciting stuff coming for anybody who has sort of been missing my bullet journal videos. I'm combining a couple of things that I really love and sort of forming a bullet journal style planner that I haven't really seen before. I'm really excited about it. So that should be Friday's video, and I'm really looking forward to it. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ding that little notification bell so you are informed when I upload new content. Let me know in the comments below which of these binding methods you would like to see in the upcoming mini album projects, and definitely jump down there and hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel, and it's absolutely free to do. It takes 1 second of your time. So I love your faces. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Now I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to each and every one of my patrons. Without you, I would not be able to do this for a living. So thank you so much for your support. If you would like exclusive coloring pages, prints, creature cards, and all kinds of fun line work, then check out the Patreon link in the description box below.